Hello. So I've just been looking over your scene here now. All in all, so far so good. There's a few things I just want to kind of point out before you might move on and just forget them or lose them. Each one of these little troughs you've done, you're leaving behind an end gun of this flat area here. I don't know if that's something you're aware of and you're going to sort out, or if not. But just make sure, because you have done these bevels and brought these triangles down to sort this shape out, the continuation of that edge does create an end gun inside here. This whole face is an end gun, same for up here. This one, we don't have to worry about because there is obviously no little inlet thing in this one. So dead easy to fix up though, dead easy. For this one, because you got the same either side. Thank you, Seb. We can have the multi-cut tool and just. Sorry, my mind's freaking out a little bit. Come on. We can make an edge here to that corner. That solves that, hopefully. Yeah, my mind's really freaking out. There we go. So you head there, into there. The solves that. What I'd also do, just do, because you got a lot of very large, long pieces, which are going to be, depending on how you're going to UV them, if you do try and do the big texture that we basically move and position our UVs to fit, if you do that, it's not much of a problem having big, long surfaces like this. But one thing I'd always advise is just splitting them up, splitting them down a little bit. Oh, I forgot this one. I realised I forgot this one. So I think we could probably just get these and merge them into one. Okay, so we got some. Okay, so we've got some phases here that vertexes that haven't been uh, merged into each other. So let's just merge those into each other. So get those three, and then those three. Yeah, and then I'm gonna grab all of these and merge them together. There we go. That's nice. You can technically do the same on the outside here as well. So if I grab both of them, oh, we've got the same thing going on. So yeah. Okay, so when you've created these triangles coming down, one thing you've just now done is merge them in. Do one single vertex. So you've still got three vertexes kind of sat off the top of each other on these. So let's get them in. Let's get all them in. Merge center. That's better. We've got the same. Yeah, okay, so the same thing's going on over here. So one thing we're going to need to do is just have to go around to each one of these and then merge the center. Merge the center. Obviously, I'm pressing 3 to come into proxies move. All these are good here. All these have been merged to the center. Yeah, so just go around and make sure that's sorted. All these little inlets and stuff. Make sure that we press 3 and all our vertexes should be coming down to 1 point. Or like, well, if you do this, 3 should be coming down to 1 point. 3 should be coming down to 1 point. Or if you do this in the back, all of them should be coming down to 1 point. Okay, so I'm going to do these. That was the face here. So I'm going to just continue this line back here. To the back of our object there, like that. Just so I'm bringing back those quads, and I can do that little straightening thing that we did the other day. If I grab all the edges that are out of line, I could just use a scale tool to bring them down to the center. That way I can split up into a couple of different pieces. So I can have like maybe 3 different pieces. So like this section here, then like this section here and this section here. Again, like I said, if you are doing that whole, we're using the big flat texture and then we're positioning our UVs so it's repeating over it, you don't need to worry about it. But if you're not doing that, if you want to texture each individual kind of section as like one texture, it's probably best to do that just so you're not trying to fit a massive piece of geometry into one texture sheet. So yeah, bottom bits down here, we forgot to do that little checking to see. So these edges look right. Let me just make sure I'll grab all the mouse center. I'll leave it like that, yeah. So these are three here. Mouse to center. Yeah, these here. Oops. Mouse to center. There we go. Always checking that whenever you're doing your multi-cut stuff or when you're adding bevels and stuff, just make sure that we're checking for those little areas where edges might not have actually sewn together or where end guns might be appearing. I think I've accidentally deleted the bottom surface here. Okay, so far so good, yeah. That's the main thing for these environments, for the walls, these troughs and stuff, is just to make sure that you're sorting out that area where the vertexes are meeting. I check your UVs out for these two, they're fine. I mean, you could technically try and fit both of these into the same UV sheet, texel dense to them so that the wood grain would be the same for both of them. You could try and fit these two together so that you bring in this in as one texture sheet rather than two texture sheets. Your book is fine. Your quill is fine. This is fine. I think you probably bring these three into the same texture sheet as well because your book's got a lot of wasted space. Your quill and your inkwell, if you like look at these relative to the size of your book and then look at your UV sheets, you could bring these UVs into this. Again, you've got to do the texel density thing, so getting the ratio. So let's just do that to this. Let's get this quill, move it off to the side. Let's get the inkwell, let's bring it a bit closer. Okay, so we've got all three objects together. Let's combine them in. And I'm going to get the texel density for the book cover from the book cover. Let's call this our hero piece. So I get the texel density from this. Cool. And then I'll do it on the inkwell first. Set that. So that's gone down a hell of a lot. So I can actually bring that in. And what I'm going to do as well is just see how much space, if I texel density everything, see how much space I've got left. Because I might be able to scale stuff up just to make sure that the whole area is being used, the polygons, no, sorry, the pixels, there we go. The pixels for the area being used as much as possible. Sorry, voice is really going. So let's do the same for the feather. Again, look how much that's gone down, so we can actually bring that in. Okay, yeah, I think we're going to be able to actually do some cool stuff with this. So let's just move everything to the right. Ooh, get over, move it to the right. There you go. So I'm going to leave the pages the same size, but I'm going to make the book a little bit bigger. Scale it up a tiny bit. I'm going to scale the inkwell up a bit. I think the inkwell would be really nice to get some finer detail on that. It's only really small, like red earth or like earth pottery kind of thing, but we can. Oh, yeah, bring it in. Still trying to cram these in close together as well, so they're nice and close. And then all this space that's left, I can use some mighty feathers. So if I rotate around, bring them closer to each other, I can scale them up a lot. It's really nice to get some really nice texture on the feather as well. And then that leaves just the rest of the stuff, the annoying little bits. We can put those in place and maybe put them down here. But that still leaves us with a lot of place. That still leaves us with a lot of excess for if we want to add anything else on the table, anything thinner, a pen or a pencil, whatever, insert small thin object here. So I'm going to bring these in. Yeah, I think I'll scale these up as well, so that we can have these be a bit bigger as well, because we have scaled up the feathers. So it stands to reason that we'd probably scale up everything else to do with the feather. And yeah, we are changing the textile density from everything a little bit, but it's not like we're doing it massively. The scale differences aren't super, super massive. It's more I'm doing this to serve the scene a little bit more, like serve the UV. Scale it up a little bit. There you go. Just fill that area in a little bit. So then that brings down the amount of UV sheets we're going to be dealing with later on, which is probably going to get quite high. Now I was having a look over this, and this is looking pretty good so far. Pretty good. However, I did press 3 to check out the smoothing, because this is one thing I do this with. Pressing 3 to get the proxy smooth. I'm looking for stuff like this. Now all this is a double extrusion. Look at the vertex face. And we get really close in here. You can just see this small little white line. You've done an extrusion and then not moved, and then clicked extrude again. However, if we just click the merge tool, and just to be safe, I'm going to turn this down to 0.001. All those double extrusions get merged into themselves. So this little white line, that was the giveaway when I looked at this. It's like, oh, what's that little white line? It's right here. It's inside here. So by just hitting it with the merge tool, and just to be safe, just to make sure that nothing else kind of merges into each other, I'm going to do 0.001. So you have to be really on top of each other to get this working. Excuse me. There we go. That's good. So far, the UV for this is looking pretty good. Broken up in the right way. So this, I was looking at this, and I think this could be a bit better. So let's grab everything to do with this. So you got this centerpiece here, and then you've got the two little sides. Oops, come here, there we go. And you have these two little sides. So I think we could probably sew those back on. Like that. Boom. There we go. As well as a little top section, which is already sewn on. Now I'm just going to break up this pop into individual chunks. I'm going to do this little trick that I've done before. I'm going to sew these bit by bit back onto this. Yeah, I'm going to go back and just need to sew these. No, not that. Sorry, these bits back together. Sew these back together. Because this bottom little disc, this bottom little disky section here. I think we can actually just keep this together. Oops. Mess this up all. There we go. Right. I accidentally press H then. So I can grab these little bits and yeah, I want to keep this little disc section at the bottom together, but I'm going to sew these little arms onto the top section here, just because I think that'd be a bit neater, but it wouldn't need me actually cutting these sections here into two, and then sewing them back onto here. Oh, oops. I've got to bring these up as well. Because my reason for doing this whole thing is so that because you have this like crab shape for this this UV island here, and that's purely down to the shape of the arms. The arms are doing that. But if I sew them onto this top, you can even do it to the bottom bit. To be honest, you could sew them onto this bottom bit. What this does, it gives me more of a rectangular shape rather than this kind of crab-like shape that you're getting. So you can see there, I've sewn all the way around to there, which is good. I could do the same thing on the other side, like there, and then I could just basically do the same thing. I could follow down these edges here. It's very similar to when we did the book. Very, very similar to when we did the book. When we did the little sides of the book going round. It's identical to that. Right, there we go. So here that was something. All three. How does anyone do? Is that one fold? There you go. Right, okay, so that's a bit more of a regular shape. Or you could you could also just cut off the arms away from the discs and have this. Again, it's a little bit more regular shapes. You've not got weird little like crab shapes. That was a bit of an awkward shape to have. Or you could have this because this is just like it's again a bit more of a regular shape. It's more of a rectangular kind of shape. Um, it's a part of it can be as well how you envision these arms to be textured, what material they're going to be made out of. If these arms are going to be different materials in this section and this section, or is it all going to be one the same material going around? It's very similar. Like I said, it's very similar to why we did the book as well. Because with the book, the reason that we broke all the little sections, the little side sections up into individual chunks is so that we could sew them onto the main body. Like all this section here. So we could sew that onto the main body. And I just need to re-sew these together because these areas here were. Oh, my tool's doing stupid marquee select thing. There we go. Yeah, these little triangles have come from when we inside this double extrusion across here. Do that. Like I said, this is looking pretty good. Besides the little crab-like shape here, also this is easy to pack together than when you have weird shapes like the little crab-like shape here. This is a little bit easier to pack into a texture. Like I said, this is looking pretty good. There's a child screaming outside. Yes. So the little plants. Sorry, the child is screaming his head off. So let's just select these for a sec. Let's bring these. So these looking really good. Oh, because I put you in that broken your group because I've grouped you together. Let's see. Whatever. So these are looking really good. I'm not looking at the UVs yet, but these are looking good. Shape-wise, these are looking good. Let's have a look at the UVs for this. Yeah, oh, a little bit of a thing going on with that one. Yeah, they're perfect. These are, yeah, perfect. Yeah, these, perfect. Yeah, well, perfect to the minute. You have to, depending on how you want to pack these in together. Yeah, it might be nice to actually have these separate because you can have so much variation in the color. Although you could, like I say in the video, you could pack these on top of each other so that you could have like strips of color and do a little bit more like Photoshop kind of texturing and have a bit more like strips of color. But these so far, these are looking good. Yeah. Yeah, so all in all, good looking so far is just watching out for those little bits that we were talking about, like the little areas of vertex around here and here. Some vertexes as well merged together, which give you like 3 vertexes sharing the same position. And yeah, just so you know that the lamp, the bottom part of the lamp. Don't know where my tool's breaking. Oh, my Maya's dying. Maya, why? Anyway, yeah, so far everything's looking fine. Just those few little bits, just make sure you sort them out. So far so good.